Well, let's bring in three Liberal MPs now to talk about their convention taking place in Winnipeg. Karina Gould is an Ontario MP. Francis Scarpaleggia is a Quebec MP and the Government Caucus Chair. And Marco Mendicino is also an Ontario MP. Good to see you all.
Nice to be here.
So what's Winnipeg all about? You won in government in October. Is it just a big party weekend for Liberals from across Canada? What happens at a convention like this when you're the party in power and you just won it? Francis, maybe start with you because you've been at this a long time.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, our Constitution requires that every 2 years we have a biennial policy convention. As politicians, we like to talk policy anytime, really. But also it's an opportunity for Liberals from across the country to reconnect and, of course, to discuss the last few months. It's an opportunity for Liberals to go into workshops with ministers and to talk about the progress ministers are making in their individual dossiers and files. And it's obviously we're going to have a big focus on the Constitution as well, the party Constitution.
We'll talk about that in a second. Karina, what does the weekend mean for you?
Well, I think for a first-time member of Parliament, it's really important to get together with the entire country. It's the first time that Liberals are going to be meeting from coast to coast to coast following the October election. So it's an important time for us to get together to celebrate what we achieved in the election, because none of this would have happened without all of those Liberals across the country getting out there, knocking on doors, talking to Canadians, and working on this together, and an opportunity for us to take stock of the past 6 months, to look forward over the next 3.5 years, and decide where we continue to go as a party, because that's what it is. It's about bringing us together.
What about that, Marco? I mean, it's one thing to see. It's as I view it, and we've been mentioning this. It's a big weekend for CPAC, as we'll be live coming from 2 conventions. For the Conservatives, it's about their weekend's going to be about how they lost power and how they get it back. And your weekend is going to be how you won power and how you keep it. Is that a fair way to put it?
I think so.
I mean, not just for the sake of power, but what you did well in the election campaign, what you learned from it, and how you carried it forward.
No, you've got it right. And, it's essentially what they said. And it's nice to be on with 2 other panelists who are all part of the same political family. Usually it's there's a little less agreement when you have a discussion like this. But no, I mean, I would echo the sentiments. This is my 4th biennial. They're a lot of fun, I think, more than anything else. It is an opportunity for like-minded Canadians to get together and to talk about, the issues of the day, policies that matter. There are going to be some important discussions going on with respect to how we organize as a party and how we keep our party open, and the Prime Minister's commitment to ensure that any Canadian that wants to be part of the political process and engaged has the opportunity to do so. So some of the concrete ways that we're looking to do that are to get rid of membership fees. And we see other parties moving in a different direction. We see other parties sort of moving their fees up, making them more expensive. We're proposing to get rid of them altogether. We think that's a great thing. And as somebody who has participated in a very competitive nomination process, I can tell you the number of times that I was at the door with people who wanted to be involved in the selection of their candidate, but could not because the price tag was just too high. So that's just one example. There are many others.
Well, let's talk about that. We'll come back to some of the policy issues, but let's talk about that's the key constitutional issue. I think the Liberal Party has 18 different constitutions that regulate it, so this will be one constitution, streamline it. And as you've talked about, the most important part will be doing away with the concept of membership and just saying anybody who wants to register their name takes full advantage of what it means to be a member of the Liberal Party. Francis, some people would say that, what's the value of membership if it's free? What's the response to that?
Well, I mean, I think we've gone through many changes as a party since 2011, and one of the big changes that occurred, which was driven by the delegates at the convention in 2011 and then 2013, is the whole idea of transforming our party into a movement that brings together the greatest number of Canadians, like-minded Canadians, on issues before us together into a movement. So this is really an extension of that process that began a few years ago now, and that concept really has proven its success because it involved many Canadians in the leadership, and then it involved many Canadians in the election campaign. And so we want to keep our party as open as possible because a political party is only as vibrant as the influx of new ideas, and that's essentially what we're trying to maintain.
What's your view on that, Karina?
I agree wholeheartedly. I think one of the most exciting things about this past election, especially for me, was engaging with Canadians and constituents in Burlington who hadn't voted previously. And they decided to vote because they saw the Liberal Party as open, as inclusive, and one that represents their values and how they see themselves. And I think the extension of this to our membership policy is reflective of where we're moving as a party and where we want to go as a government as well. But it's important to make sure that Canadians know, no matter what their background, no matter where they come from, that they are able to engage and participate. And it's so important for them to be engaged at the party stage as we develop policies, to then through to elections and government, et cetera, et cetera.
What's the importance of a policy convention, I guess, for a party that's just been elected to government, is trying to implement the 150 promises that got you elected? What do you do with a whole bunch more stuff that comes off a convention floor? Marco, you want to tackle that?
Well, I think there are two conversations. They're related, but one is obviously wanting to be sure that our campaign platform, both present and future, continue to reflect the values and the principles which are part of the fabric of our society, of Canada. And so the best way to do that is to have people in a room and talking about it with candor, with integrity, with honesty, and in a dignified manner. And we see that in the House. We've been tackling some very, very complex, seminal issues, but for the most part, I'd like to think that we've been doing it in a respectful way. And so one way in which you continue to do that is by having these conventions to be sure that you remain in touch and connected with Canadians.
A quarter of the resolutions you'll deal with relate to Indigenous affairs, making it mandatory that every third Governor-General is Aboriginal, granting official language status to Aboriginal languages, providing free dental, vision care and prescription drugs for First Nations and Inuit people, requiring all Liberal candidates to receive training on Indigenous history and culture before being allowed to run for the Liberal Party. All good ideas. Do you think they'll all pass?
Well, I don't know if everything will pass. I mean, it's rare that you go to a policy convention and every single policy passes, but that doesn't mean that it's not worthwhile to have the conversation, and it's important to put these issues on the table. I think it's reflective of the fact that our Prime Minister and our government have made reconciliation with our First Nations and our Indigenous peoples in Canada a top priority, and I think it's really terrific that these issues are coming to the forefront, because it's important for us as Canadians to recognize that relationship and to understand the history and where we're moving forward.
I should be clear about where I went when I said all good ideas. Are they all going to pass? I pass no judgment on anybody's ideas, but I meant for you, are they all good ideas, and do you think they all should pass, Francis?
Well, I mean, I'm not familiar with each of these resolutions. Right. I mean, we'll have a debate on the floor and in workshops, and some will be made priority resolutions, but they're all contributing to the sort of marketplace of ideas in the Liberal Party. So yes, we have ministers with mandate letters. They have specific commitments that they have to fulfill. But you never stop bringing in new ideas, because you'll need new ideas going forward when commitments have been implemented and so on. So it's all part of the process of keeping the discussion alive. And I think the fact that there are so many resolutions on Indigenous issues means that it is a central issue for our government, and just the fact of having those reminds us of that.
Marco?
Well, yeah, I would add very little to what I think both Karina and Francis have articulated. But look, it's a source of great pride, I think, for all of us that we have a caucus that is I think, very reflective of the population, and that we have a campaign set of promises and pledges which we're adhering to, which recognizes the importance of really coming to the table with the First Nations, the Indigenous communities, on a nation-to-nation basis. So whether it's on acting on the Truth and Reconciliation recommendations, or whether it's starting with the inquiry, I mean, those are really, really important things. And I think that some of the resolutions which are going to be coming forward are consistent with the recognition of the importance of that relationship.
All right. Well, look, it'll be a busy time for you in Winnipeg. A chance to catch up, a chance to talk about what went right, and talk about how to try and make it happen again 4 years from now. But I appreciate your time setting the stage for us for Winnipeg, and have fun out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you so much
appreciate
for
it.
having us.